Hey guys, welcome back to Change Your Life. This is day number 35, and today I would like to discuss not letting our mistakes consume us. So today's topic is not letting our mistakes consume us. Yesterday, I made a pretty big embarrassment of myself, and I acted in a very immature way. So I live on a pretty busy street here in Montreal, and we live on the corner, and we have a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and I go outside with my kids and we throw the football or play around on the sidewalks and in the streets. But we always have speeders that, people from the neighborhood that don't live here that cut through here to get to other places, and they're speeding. They're driving twice the speed limit, going through stop signs, things like that. It's very dangerous. So a lot of the times I'll say, slow down. I'll yell at them to slow down, or I'll do the hand motions and things like that to try to get them to slow down. And, we've brought it up with our counselors and with the police department station that handles our area. Just nothing gets done. So it's very frustrating. My blood boils and things like that. So, I've been talking about changing my life and how I'm a changed person and all those things. And when you're making changes in your life, you're going to come across these times as well, undoubtedly. Because what happens is, it's been wintertime, so we haven't been on the streets for, several months. So this situation hasn't really occurred again. And it occurred last year, actually, during the summer, during the pandemic and everything. This situation occurred where I was getting into altercations with drivers of vehicles that are speeding through our neighborhood. But this is the first time this has happened, as we started going outside again over the last week or whatever. I yelled at someone to stop, and they yelled something back. I yelled out louder. There's a couple kids around. My kid is around, and a neighbor's kid was with us, and and I yelled back at him. Then he takes off speeding up the street and comes close to hitting one of my other neighbors, who was the parent of a kid I was standing next to. And she's really adamant about the speeders, and she yells at the speeders too. So she went running up the street. The guy made a right turn down a dead-end street because he didn't know where he was going. He's not from the area. So she runs up there, and I go up there. So I'm walking up there. The kids run up there, to have a word with this guy. And I'll tell you about what I'm going to do differently next time. But this time, what I did is I walked up there, and I was walking up there, and I see my neighbor going up there, and I don't know who's in the car at the time, and I don't know how many people, because it was an SUV. I don't know how many people are in the car. So I pick up a big rock, like a smart guy. I have a giant rock. So I see my neighbor go up around the corner, and I have this big rock in my hand. And so the kids start saying, "Run, Dad, run, run." So I don't know what's happening. So I run around the corner, and the kids were like, "Oh, he was going to run over our neighbor." And so my blood temperature just went through the roof. And I wasn't prepared for this situation. And so, my old immature, thuggish ways came pouring through, and he had his window down, and I came this far from hitting him in the face with that rock and going to prison, more than likely. So I'm just glad that I decided to change my life, because, maybe had I been drinking, it was 5 o'clock, had I been drinking that day, maybe I would have not been able to stop the stone from hitting him in the face, and cracking a skull or something, So I was so disappointed in myself, and I did that in front of my son and the neighbor's kid, and just the embarrassment, the shame that I felt for my behavior, it was just unbearable, and it just consumed me. And through the night, that I would let some loser make me behave in that way. His actions caused me to behave in that way. Why? Why couldn't I stop myself? So I thought about that, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it anymore, because it's a one-off. It's something that happened that I have to learn from. I can't let it consume me. I have to learn, what am I going to do differently next time? Next time, before I go outside, I know there's going to be speeders. There always is. There's going to be people running stop signs. I'm going to say something. I'll still say something, but I'm not going to get worked up about it. I'm going to have my phone on me before I go outside. I'll have my phone, and I'll just say, "Stop." I'll take a deep breath, and I'll think about the speeder coming by and how I'm going to react to it. And I'm just going to be calm about it. I'll just say, "Slow down." I'll do a hand motion, "Slow down," or I'll say, "Slow down, please," or something like that. If the person stops, screams, gets irate, I'll just have my phone ready to record, whatever. You know, if they get irate, stop, because this happened before, and they get out and start screaming and all this stuff. It's just, it's a nightmare, really. It's not a pleasant place to live. We might be selling our home, to be honest. We've been doing a lot of work to try to get some speed bumps and the police officers to actually patrol around here and give tickets. So we'll see if that changes. But I'll just have my phone ready, and I'll be ready to record and, you know, just say, go ahead and act like a lunatic, buddy. I got you on camera, you know. So that's all I'm going to do next time. I'm prepared for this again, but I was just letting it eat me up inside, because it's like, that's not who I am. That behavior is the old me. And you know, it stuck its ugly head out again because I wasn't ready for it. But I know there might be other situations that occur over the course of the next year or two that, you know, situations that arise that I'm not ready for, that I didn't plan for, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. If I behave in a way that's immature, or the way that the old me used to behave, I'll say, hey, you know, catch it. Try to catch it. Even if I don't catch it at the moment, afterward is fine. As long as we catch it and we can look at what are the steps that led up to that behavior, and then what are we going to do differently next time we are in that situation, so we can mitigate the damage that we do, or at least circumvent what we're going to, you know, that horrible immature behavior that we used to have, that we no longer have, and we no longer want it a part of our lives. So that's the step that I'm going to do to change my behavior for that situation in particular, and I'm going to try to apply to that to other situations, maybe where I'm not even thinking about, that I'm not thinking about right now, where I act immature, or not the way that a good father would behave. And I had to take my son aside last night, and I apologized to the mother, and she didn't care so much, but I apologized to them, and I brought my son in, and I said, look, that is not the appropriate way to behave, and I apologize for acting that way. I acted very immaturely, and we should not let losers like that cause us to behave like losers ourselves. And so I told him what I was going to do differently the next time, and how I was going to handle it differently the next time. I also told him that I was grounding myself, so I don't get any ice cream on movie nights. There's no ice cream for me. And he said, you're going to ground yourself? How do you ground yourself? I said, well, you just need, it's called self-discipline. You can discipline yourself if you're not behaving the way that you should be behaving, you can discipline yourself, and that's self-discipline. And so that was I used that again, another way that I used it as a teaching moment, I guess, for my son. And I think he understood. He's 8 years old, and he understood, and I think he's on board with the new plan and everything, and he understands that sometimes we act and behave in ways that we don't like, and it's okay, but we need to learn from that mistake and change the behavior for the next time, and figure out how to change the behavior for the next time. So I'm not going to let this consume me any longer. I lost some sleep last night about it, and that loser no longer has any more effect on me as of this morning, when I decided the new plan of action I was going to take, and that behavior is not me. It was just the old me sticking its ugly head up again. And so looking at it like that, I'm able to compartmentalize it as what it is and change my behavior for the future. And I'm just using it as a great learning experience. And I hope you do the same for whatever it is, whatever behavior that pops its ugly head up in your life. And you're like, oh, I'm still this way. You're not still that way. That's just the old habits, the old routines, the old way of thinking that you used to have sticking its ugly head up again for some reason, because of a chain of events that has occurred that hasn't occurred yet, but it will occur. So when it does occur, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't let it consume you. Understand it for what it is, and then make a plan of action to address that situation and those chain of events for the next time, so you don't do that again. And then that's how we can grow and learn from our mistakes. So if you like this video, like and subscribe. I'm going to be making a video every day, so stay strong, be free, and I will talk to you tomorrow.